To begin the final of the first ever Guardian Direct Cup.
Out. 15 all.
Well, it's going to improve.
Yes, I don't think there are going to be too many strings broken in this match. They continue along those lines, but Pioline staying back, very different from the match he played against Simringa. And I don't think it's a bad idea against Kafelnikov, who does return well.
15.
Yes, lovely little touch. Then listen to his opponent.
15.
Yes, good feel. And just watch here that there's very little bounce in the ball, which is why Kafelnikov gives up the chase so soon. Pretty low bouncing court.
Game Pioline.
Slight doubt as to whether that will go long or not. I don't think Kafelnikov totally committed on the return. First game with serve. Pioline, of course, has this dreadful record in finals. He's been in 12 finals, only won 2. In fact, he lost his first 9 and got the reputation of being someone who really wasn't quite up to it at the big occasion. But the way he's played his big occasion matches in the last 2 years, I think we can more or less forget that. It may not be totally out of his mind.
No, I don't think it is. I think there is some reason for it. But you look at him and you think back to Ivan Lendl, who had a similar reputation, that he was always going to be best man and never the groom. And then eventually broke through, and of course they followed thereafter quite a number of singles titles for the Czech-turned American. And I think the fact that Pioline has been in 2 major finals really is almost an indication, certainly at Wimbledon last year, that he's perhaps overcome a little bit of that jinx.
Yes, it was a match against Becker, I think it was about 3 years ago now, on centre court at Wimbledon, which I think was the making of him. He lost it, but he showed true colours. Love one.
15 lost. Hold. 15 all.
Hasn't totally woken up yet, I don't think, Yevgeny.
No, it's a bit of initial sparring. Both players will be pretty tense at this stage. Mightn't be a bad idea for Pioline, if he faces a second serve, to look to get in, not necessarily behind the return, but certainly during the course of the rally, before Kafelnikov comes to his senses. But it's not really the way that Pioline likes to play his tennis. And that's what I mean by that. Pioline looking to trade baseline strokes with Kafelnikov. I think he's going to come off second best. Although he's very good from the ground, he doesn't quite have Kafelnikov's patience. The patience that it takes to win the French.
Oh. 40-30. Game Kafelnikov.
A fair amount of mishits early on in this match. Kafelnikov just beginning to knuckle down to his task.
Yes, he lost just the one serve against Ferreira in the second set, and faced just the 2 break points. It wasn't huge serving, but it was pretty competent.
Low 15.
Pioline staying back behind the first serve. Both Pioline and Kafelnikov, their fastest serve of the week has been 126 miles an hour, which translates to just over 202 kilometers per hour.
So 15.
More like it.
Yes, I think that's the sort of aggression that I think Pioline has to show for much of the match if he's going to topple Kafelnikov. Losing 8 times to an opponent is bound to be a psychological scar there.
With a lack of preparation there, Pioline.
Game Pioline.
He's changing it up several times with the serve volley. And for the most part, it's held him in good stead. So Pioline takes the lead early on. 2-1 in the opening set.
Ow! What do you mean, ow? Are you blind? That's what I call ow!
Quiet, please, ladies and gentlemen.
You cannot be serious.
In a race renowned for its hardship, this is the toughest leg of the lot. From New Zealand to Brazil, almost 7,000 nautical miles, across the stormy southern Pacific and round the dreaded Cape Horn. All racing on the ragged edge. The Whitbread race for the Volvo Trophy, Sunday on Eurosport.
With Tandem, a compact company.
Volvo.
Back with us to see Kafelnikov here at 1-2. Opening set, best of 3 sets, Guardian Direct Cup from Battersea Park in southwest London. It's a nice day today. Forecast was for plenty of wind again, but it hasn't happened up to now.
Well, it's probably time to comment about these mishits, with both players looking to roll the ball quite a lot. It's almost a flick rather than a roll at the moment. They haven't really got into any kind of rhythm. But there, once again, there wouldn't be as many of these unforced errors and mishits if they were flatter hitters of the ball. For instance, Kafelnikov on his backhand side, not likely to make as many framed shots.
Game Kafelnikov.
So a comfortable service retention there for Kafelnikov.
2 games over.
But still, this match yet to catch fire.
And I think the reason is that they're both playing a very similar game, apart from the mishits. The serving percentage not all that good, both staying back, and a pretty nervous start, which has resulted in as many unforced errors, 7 for Pioline, 5 for Kafelnikov.
Trickier than it looked. He nearly had to play it way below the height of the net.
Low 15.
Yes, Kafelnikov taking all the pace off at a one-handed chip, and Pioline, a real test really of his technique. When you've got to make the pace on those shots, they're not easy when you're that close to the net.
15 all.
Service percentage through this week's been in the mid-60s. And winning a high percentage of points when it does go in, very nearly 80. And the serve volleying crew is beginning to work big time.
30-15.
Yes, it's sometimes clever, of course, to chop and change, but the one problem with that is you don't naturally get into a particularly nice rhythm if you're doing it intermittently. And against Simmerink, it was serve volley from beginning to end, and he really was looking very, very smooth.
Yes, he has lovely looking shots when they come off. Full sweep of the racket.
40-15.
Yes, he's got terrific flair, and he's a very strong man, is Pioline. 6'2", so although this one comes up a bit, he's able to stand up and hit it with power.
Game Pioline.
So Pioline holds on again with no trouble. It's 3-2.
You don't need to play tennis at 100 miles an hour to enjoy it, but you do need Ace, Britain's biggest tennis magazine. Every issue includes interviews with top players, tournament reports from around the world, product tests and competitions. And if you want to improve your game, Greg Rusetsky's now the Ace coaching editor. Ace is available from all good news agents or by calling the subscription hotline on 0171 381 7037. Ace, Britain's biggest tennis magazine, because we live on Planet Tennis.
No service break so far. Kafelnikov 2-3 against Cedric Pioline of France.
Love 15.
Well, one of the few long rallies that Pioline's won. Not that there've been that many with the framed shots, but I can't imagine that that will last long. Kafelnikov generally will get the better of those.
Love 13.
Isn't playing with the consistency or the venom that's made him such a formidable force. See the frown beginning to get even stronger across the face.
15-13.
Very good saving shot from Kafelnikov. He was in trouble there, but he's going to run it out the hat all right.
Yes, you just wonder where the shot came from, because Pioline will be telling himself, I can't play a much better return. You can see how low it kept. Kafelnikov not able to play the two hands, and actually almost grimaces as he plays the one-handed slice. Little did he know how good it was going to be.
Onto the roof, that one. So he's got himself out of trouble.
Game Kafelnikov.
Yeah, well played. And that little backhand slice, who knows, it might be the trick for him to find some form.
A very different opposition or opponent in Pioline for Kafelnikov today than Ferreira. If he's going to go down close to break points or go down in the game, he's really going to have to come up with that sort of shot or better serving, in that Pioline is a finer returner of the ball and a sounder off the ground than Ferreira.
Yes, he looks to be picking his game up now.
Rather comfortable, because it only produced one little step across here, just the left foot across, no need to have to stretch, so that's within the comfort zone.
Ooh. Looked to have it. Good saving shot from Pioline, but there was a real chance here for Kafelnikov.
And you can see him having to lunge forward just a little bit too late for the ball there. That shows how if you get under the ball on the volley, it'll stay low. There's got to be that anticipation. You've got to continually remind yourself you're going to have to move forward rather than sideways to shots.
30-15.
Well, that's the sort of tennis we saw against Pioline, in which he lost only 5 points in his serve in each set. Was never taken to deuce against Simmering, Pioline. Was Kafelnikov a far better returner than the Dutchman.
Not far away, but the threat that Kafelnikov posed was too much.
Hasn't got a bad slice, Pioline, but it's not a shot he'll play quite as often as Kafelnikov will. And that may have made the difference there, but between just out and just in.
Again, Pioline.
And suddenly, the second ace.
Pioline leads.
Tennis beginning to pick up in standard from both players. Pioline edges in front again, 4-3.
The C-Class is now even more attractive, safe and comfortable. Formula One driver Mika Häkkinen is testing whether it's also faster.
Tomorrow, tennis.
No.
Packed crowd here at the indoor arena at Battersea Park, a makeshift arena, and very much an inaugural tournament. A lot of pessimistic thoughts at the end of last year that it might have come a bit too quick for the organisers, but they've done a terrific job. Another sellout here, and this has been a big boost. It was always going to be a barometer of how British tennis is faring, but despite the fact there's no Henman and Rosetsky at the weekend, very strong.
Love.
Getting to be a habit.
Yes, certainly is. And it may well be worth just reminding folk how we come to have the tournament here, because it was a tournament that was held in Milan in Italy. But because the Italians have got no players, rather where Britain was a few years ago, they can't attract any spectators to Milan or anywhere in Italy for that matter, other than the Italian championships.
15-all.
So consequently a shift in tournament site was on the cards, and Britain now with Henman and Rosetsky, Richardson in the wings, was able to notch down this tournament.
Just hasn't really been able to show the magic of which he's capable. Ground stroke's not opening up Pioline as much as he'd hope. Another little volley there going astray. Oh yes, majestic.
Well, I thought he'd blown at Pioline with the forehand initially. He didn't play a particularly good shot here. This was a poor volley by Kafelnikov, but nevertheless, with the ball keeping low, Pioline's backhand a lot sounder than his forehand.
So 2 break points.
Correction, also. Go to 14.
You need to be disappointed with that.
Both of them just about in the same company in terms of ability to break an opponent's serve. They win 41% of their chances.
Yes. Passed them both times, and that big whirlwind backhand has done the trick for Pioline. It may have mishit it on several occasions, but when it mattered here, it's helped him twice, and he's a break up.
And Kafelnikov perhaps making the error here of coming back to a shot that has just hurt him. May well have gained a lot more by going to Pioline's forehand there.
So the first break points, the first break, Pioline then, 5-3, serving for the first set.
Out. 15 all.
Well, so far, it's Pioline playing with a greater authority.
Well, it's a fine return that set it up because he kept it low. Pioline having to dive, didn't get much weight on the shot. And very often I think this is an indicator of Kafelnikov's form, this two-hander down the line.
Now then. Maybe the beast is awoken.
15-14.
Yes, and is this Pioline making the same error as Kafelnikov did? Kafelnikov twice going to Pioline's backhand, being hurt on both occasions, and Pioline returning the favour.
2 break-back points. Bit of a presence. Second break point. Terrific angle from Yevgeny Kafelnikov. Suddenly looking the player that won the French Open. And he's broken back in superb style. It's 4-5.
Pioline lead, 5. 14-13.
Ow! What do you mean, ow? Are you blind? That's what I call ow!
Quiet, please, ladies and gentlemen.
You cannot be serious!
In a race renowned for its hardship, this is the toughest leg of the lot. From New Zealand to Brazil, almost 7,000 nautical miles, across the stormy southern Pacific and round the dreaded Cape Horn. All racing on the ragged edge. The Whitbread race for the Volvo Trophy, Sunday on Eurosport.
With Tandem, a compact company. And Volvo.
Well, suddenly the match has come alive. Terrific game from Pioline to break at 5-3. Kafelnikov matching him in the last game. And now we've got the match we'd hoped for.
Fascinating last rally, wasn't it? 27-stroke rally. And in many ways it reminded me of the French Championships, in which they met, of course, last year. Kafelnikov led by 2 sets to love. Pioline pinned him back to 2 sets all, and Kafelnikov eventually winning in the 5th set.
What's been notable for me is that Kafelnikov, until a couple of points in the previous game, not been able to manoeuvre Pioline around the court, making him go wide with the angles.
Yes, I don't think there's been the confidence, other than the couple of really good counter punches that Kafelnikov's played. I don't think he's been able to middle the ball quite as well as he would like. Plus, of course, Pioline indoors hitting the ball pretty hard, not giving Kafelnikov the time that he would normally like. A lot faster here than on clay in Paris.
Game Kafelnikov.
He's definitely up to the task now.
5 games old.
And has rallied just in time, maybe in time to save this set. Pinpoint placement.
A little change of mind here by Pioline. I think he was going to play it short, then deciding to go deep, and I really think that was the sensible shot, and he's just got to doff his cap, as it were, and say good shot, because it was a brilliant lob by Kafelnikov. So he showed all the range of shots on that side. Somehow Pioline's got to look to try and restructure his game and direct a bit more of the traffic to Kafelnikov's forehand.
Yes. Real commitment there to get to the net quickly. And he took full advantage.
And perhaps showing really the sort of tactical awareness that Pioline just perhaps lacked. That was an important point to strike again on the Pioline serve, and he got to the net as quickly as he possibly could to keep the pressure on. Doesn't want to allow Pioline much breathing space.
$15-13.
Careless, and it could be costly.
Yes, you might say we might bang on a bit too much about first and second serves, but you've got to remember it's actually 15-40, of course, that Pioline behind his first serve wins 73% of his points. Whereas behind his second serve, he only wins 50% of his points.
Well, it's totally transformed now. Kafelnikov
6 games to 5.
now at 6-5. 2 successive breaks. When you come back, he'll be serving for the first set.
Skiers are back in Europe, and in the women's slalom, Ulva Noen will resume her incredible World Cup season. The 28-year-old Swede had never finished better than 5th. Now she's top of the rankings, but Cosnick, Compagnoni and company still have time to topple her. The Alpine Skiing World Cup, the women's slalom from Saalbach. Tonight, 1945 CET, that's 6:45 UK on Eurosport. With Volvo. Café de Colombia.
And Milka, the Alpine milk.
Here at Battersea Park, it's been a total transformation. Pioline breaking to go 5-3. Since then, Kafelnikov has suddenly felt the surge of adrenaline. 2 breaks, 6-5, and he's playing like a man inspired to it.
Well, he is, and I think the little doubts obviously have crept into Pioline's mind now. He had the match or had the set wrapped up, but just not able to serve his way to victory. And he'll be thinking about all the times now that he's lost to Kafelnikov.
15 love.
And the backhand, which has been like a wand for Pioline, certainly midway through the set, really letting him down in that previous game. He didn't seem to read the court there, did he?
No, it seemed innocuous, and it was actually a poor shot by Kafelnikov, but it turned into a good one because it kept low, which again is not a criticism, a negative criticism of the court. It's just its very nature.
And again, he just looks for the moment all at sea, Pioline, and all of a sudden, here are 3 set points. That he was lacking midway through the set. He's now firmly got that. Pioline's got to get a grip on himself. So far, he's gone to a 5-3 lead and 4 games in a row against him, and it's not an even contest at the moment. That will help even it up.
15 love.
Yes, that was like dropping a piece of china that you've just been given as a present. My goodness, a poor start by Pioline that really suggested that his mind was all over the place. That's stop volley.
Goes to love.
Third ace for Cedric.
Four to love. Left. First one.
A wonderful shot.
40-50.
Yes, just look at the way Kafelnikov stays with that, the way he follows through with this shot, and that's what they mean by staying with it. Really got the sights well judged.
Well, that particular present blacked up by the Frenchman.
First game, second set.
Pioline getting more to grips with things there. Just felt that Kafelnikov perhaps let him off the hook a little because he had the match, it seemed, under his total command, maybe only temporarily, at the end of the set.
Well, I think that first point of this set was very, very important. Pioline playing a very iffish stop volley, looked more like a lob stop volley, and Kafelnikov really, I think had he won that point, it might well have been a different story, because in the last 4 games of the first set, Pioline struggled to pick up points, only won, in fact, 3 points. So it was, from a point of view of strength, Pioline, that suddenly Kafelnikov ripped it away from him. And just showing the little burst for the tape at the right time.
I wonder, sometimes it's difficult to understand how your opponent's thinking mentally when you suddenly are improving. Kafelnikov, who's been in the dumps in this match, suddenly picking it up Maybe he's not quite aware of that Pioline's playing as badly as he was at the end of the first set. He's just thinking, I'm playing better.
Yes, I think that's very often true. I think you're so obsessed with your own game that you're a little unaware, and certainly not as aware as spectators would be, of how your opponent's doing and playing.
So love one, but a set up.
Love.
Pioline hanging his head a little there. Timing is way adrift.
Four too low.
Magic stuff from Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
And that's the shot that sets it up, because look how Pioline has to dig that up. It's right down at grassroots level, and it means that he's an easier prey for the lob here. And Kafelnikov, well disguised, you wouldn't have known, would you, what on earth he was going to do. But it's the two-hander suddenly that's beginning to look, as it has always been, world-class.
He needs that kind of luck right now, does Pioline.
It's a quartus that you can actually use the other side as well, so you can play on it once, and next year, for instance, they could lay it down the other way up. So that means that they could keep it, say, for 5 or 6 years.
Four too low. Pioline.
Just wide. Better game from Pioline. A love service game.
2 minutes to 1.
He moves to a 2-1 lead. First set, though, to the number 3 seed.
The union of snowboarders is complete with border cross, the most exciting snowboarding discipline with the most choices. The Swatch World Bordercross Tour from Solden, Austria in Yoz World Class, Monday at 13:30 CET, 12:30 UK on Eurosport. Yoz World Class, presented by Big Star, the legendary...
15 love.
That's how the first point was won and lost in this fourth game of the second set. 2-1 to Cedric Pioline. First set to Kafelnikov.
So 2 love.
Stout crowd again, as it was yesterday, of around 4,500 here. This makeshift arena in Battersea Park.
40 love. Lat. Also. Yevgeny Kafelnikov.
Yes, very much a Kafelnikov type rally that.
Yes, and more he's winning those now, and that's his 5th love service game, really, and that's way too many. Pioline has to be really trying to get more points, because it's not as if Kafelnikov's serving him off the court, hasn't yet served an ace. And Pioline, a good returner. Interesting, this area of Battersea where this is built. I was reading in the program, in 1858 it used to be called Battersea Fields, and a lot of the sort of underground characters, I guess by that they mean a lot of tennis players, used to roam around here. And then under Queen Victoria they made it into Battersea Park, and they once held here the Royal Agricultural Cattle and Working Horses Show.
15 love.
There's not quite the money around there that there is here. Well, it was a good shot, but he was spoon-fed.
Yes, it was a poor return, really, and Pioline ought to have done a bit more with the volley and just giving Kafelnikov a comparatively easy pass. Of course, it's all very well to be given them. It's a matter of taking them as well, so credit to the Russian for doing that.
30-15.
Fourth ace for Pioline.
Oh. 40-15.
Well, everyone was looking for the call of long, but it wasn't. What a shot it was from the Russian. Oh, unlucky. Just a fraction away, but the right sentiment there.
Yes, aggression, and perhaps been forced almost to go for the line because Kafelnikov's hitting the ball so well now off the ground, and the pressure on Pioline.
Let's also. And Cedric Pioline.
First double fault for Pioline, and here is break point. And the whole match could be riding on this. Didn't he come up with a serve when he needed it?
And just as well it was that good, because Kafelnikov really made a terrific effort, not missing by much. But the first serve for a while for Pioline, 40-15, and then he didn't hit a first serve in until that point.
Ugly looking preparation for such a stylish player. Slightly mishit return, and Pioline really all at sea. Another chance for the Russian. And again, he gets the serve when he needs it.
Yeah, it's very different, of course, from yesterday against Simmerink, when he was never taken to deuce. So didn't have to save break points. Normally saves 60% of his break points on his serve.
Kafelnikov after him. And once more he's going to need another cracking serve, because this one got the treatment.
Yes, it wasn't a bad serve either. It just shows how well Kafelnikov now seeing the ball.
Third break point. And that was a waste. This will be a big feather in his cap if he can get out of this hole. 3 break points he's saved. Yes, well done. It looked very tricky for Pioline then. The double fault looked like he'd put himself in real trouble, but has really forced himself in front once more. 3-2, second set.
Milka Ski Fun with World Cup stars. Play with Eurosport and Milka every week and win a holiday for 2 at the Milka Ski Camping Rund Zellamsee in the region of Salzburg, or one of 11 pairs of Milka carving skis. Call now, and good luck.
See you at the...
Welcome back. That's the situation. Kafelnikov at 2-3, but a set up against Cedric Pioline.
Love 15.
And a little bit of snap in Pioline's step at the moment. Maybe he's going to pick up after getting himself out of that little hole.
I quite agree. Looking to chase the ball down a bit more here. these feelings come and go as the match swings, and having saved the break points, perhaps just feeling a little gung-ho about things.
Yep. And you get the luck too. Big miss hit stays in. And he's able to maneuver himself into this position.
A nice bit of slice, and the ball actually moving away, so he's coming inside it and keeping low, but most importantly perhaps approaching to the forehand side. Remember how early on he was going to the backhand and being fast.
Now, this is a big switch in momentum, love 30.
Love 40.
There's his first double. Didn't rate it. But here are 3 break points now for Pioline. Terrific ground stroke from Kafelnikov.
And Pioline just giving that little bit of extra time there, particularly with that backhand down the line. You saw Kafelnikov had a lot of time to get into position, and from that point on he began dictating. Pioline's got to take play to Kafelnikov a bit more in this last break point. If he can.
Throughout this match, Kafelnikov's just raised his game when he's had to, just like Pioline did in the last game, but Kafelnikov's done it time after time.
Cedric Pioline.
The forehand from Kafelnikov now looking more and more formidable. At that level, both have saved 3 break points in the last 2 games.
Well, outstanding serving by Kafelnikov. Love 40 down, and he struck immediately with 4 very good first serves to take him to game point.
Back there, the glasses to show Ape, the tournament director here. Good pace for Pioline.
And taking a leaf out of Kafelnikov's book there, down love 15, 2 good serves, not all power, mixture of power and placement.
Goes York.
And just as we saw with Kafelnikov, once he got to game point, the relaxation set in a bit because danger had been averted. And so with Pioline, love 15, gets to 30-15, and then just the mind lets him down a bit.
Well, he guessed right. And it was a lovely looking shot, but the wrist turned just a little too much. Well, he was always guessing, wasn't he, Pioline? It looked like Kafelnikov would surely go down the line.
Yes, he had plenty of scope for that, and he was actually beaten by this. It was a good lunge by Pioline. Of course, he's a chap who, a bit like Becker, can dive on surfaces. But Kafelnikov just catching the very end of the Pioline racket.
Of course, these guys are superb athletes. Pioline's mother and father played top-class volleyball. In fact, volleyball is a big factor in Kafelnikov's life. His father's a high school volleyball coach.
Pioline.
Now he's beginning to bang down the aces. That's ace number 6. And less alarms in that game for the Frenchman, who leads 4-3, a set down.
The Alpine skiers are back in Europe, and in the women's slalom, Ulva Noen will resume her incredible World Cup season. The 28-year-old Swede had never finished better than 5th. Now she's top of the rankings. But Kosnik, Compagnoni and company still have time to topple her. The Alpine Skiing World Cup, the women's slalom from Saalbach. Tonight, 1945 CET, that's 6:45 UK on Eurosport.
With Volvo.
Café de Colombia.
And Milka, the Alpine milk.
So battle well and truly joined in the second set here in the final of the Guardian Direct Cup at Battersea Park. Kafelnikov threatening to overwhelm Pioline at the end of the first set and the beginning of the second, but the Frenchman's dug deep, saved the break points, and still very much out there with a chance. 3-4, second set. Seems to rejoice in getting himself into trouble, Kafelnikov, and then getting himself out of it. Good maneuvering from Kafelnikov.
15-all.
In many ways, you're absolutely right, because Kafelnikov knows that his serve is vulnerable. He knows that he can't just blow his opponent away. Sometimes he's at his worst, in fact, when he's ahead and is trying to nail the thing down. That's when his serve lets him down. But I suppose, as I'm implying, there can be an advantage in knowing that it's likely to happen. You get used to it.
Oh, yes. Such a clever shot. The danger is there.
And the important thing here is that he shows that he's not rushed, and he's not going to be rushed. He just stays with the shot. It's almost as if he's leaning over to pick something off the floor. So easy to lift your head and watch the incoming man rather than the ball.
Game Kafelnikov.
There's the angles that Pioline just isn't able to match. And that's why he's constantly at the moment at full stretch in rallies like that.
Yes, he's ahead very much under his own terms here now, Kafelnikov. Pioline's not able to rush him. And of course that's because Pioline hasn't got that sort of game. He's very powerful off the ground, but he needs time for his shots. And the only possible way he can rush is to take a chance on his backhand side by chipping and charging. But he has no Edberg-like talent in that respect. So it would be unlikely that Pioline would use it and that it would therefore come off. So in many ways, he's got to rely on longish rallies and look for the short ones from Kafelnikov before he can actually take over the net. And there was a prime example. Kafelnikov just pushing the ball back on the backhand side and saying to Pioline, well, take a risk if you want to, come in if you want to. And Pioline, in a way, a little impotent, not feeling that he could come in behind it, just having to play Kafelnikov at the Russians' game.
Love 13.
And he does try and be aggressive. That's the reward he gets. A wonderful return here. And that was a very, very tough volley. Critical moments for the Frenchman. Oh, yes. And the match very much up for grabs for Kafelnikov now.
14.
Yes, the obvious shot seemed the cross-court one, so this was a bit of wrong footing. There wasn't much room down there, but Pioline's balance was over to his right. Clever play.
3 break points. He'll be serving for the match if he gets one of them. Good character. And you can see him shouting at himself to repeat that.
15-40.
Could very much be that. Pioline hurls his racket across to his chair in disgust. The volley in the end
5 games to 4.
didn't really match up to those formidable ground strokes.
No, he really needed to have his serve hurting Kafelnikov here, but there again, missing the first serve, and so finding himself in a ground shot battle, coming in perhaps not quite when he wanted to, and coming in again to Kafelnikov's strength. We've seen so often that the backhand it was that did the early damage, and then the forehand's been played into form, so perhaps he's in a bit of a predicament as to which side to come in on. I would still, though, elect, I think, to come in more to Kafelnikov's forehand.
Tough for him, isn't it? Because you know that at the crunch, this is where Kafelnikov's going to play his best tennis. What does he do, Pioline? You can see the trauma in his mind as to how he's going to play it.
Yes, and the very fact, too, that he's lost so many times to Kafelnikov means that he's in a bit of a dead end as far as that's concerned. And Kafelnikov far more rounded in his game. You can see similar winners off the forehand and the backhand, whereas Pioline's forehand has, well, almost been denied, perhaps, by Kafelnikov going so much to Pioline's backhand side. Therefore, the backhand winners from Pioline far outweighing the forehand.
So Kafelnikov then serving for the match at 5-4. A couple of inches out.
15 low.
And again, the angle Just a little bit too much for Pioline, who you know is going to be aggressive here.
Left Koso.
Yes, I think it's only remediable, really, if he is aggressive. And he has to bear in mind that Kafelnikov's not going to ace him off the court yet. No ace in the match from Kafelnikov. And normally this is when he is at his most vulnerable, serving for it.
Too low.
And he seemed just laid up on that forehand. It was ideal for him. So much time and room. There's Anatoly Lepeshin at the back there, coaching Kafelnikov. Too good, I'm afraid, for Pioline, as it has been at the critical stages of the match.
4 too low.
So after about an hour and 15 minutes, here are 3 match points for the number 3 seed. Very impressive at the end, just as he was at the end of the first set, and therein lies the crux. And Kafelnikov wins his first title of 1998. He's the first winner of the Guardian Direct Cup.
Well, terrifically impressive by Kafelnikov, particularly the way he ended it up there. I wonder how many times he served out for a match to love. His 6th love service game of the match, and I think that gives the indication of the difference between the two of them.
So the final in Philadelphia, Thomas Enquist against a rejuvenated Pete Sampras. 3 o'clock Central European time tomorrow, 2 o'clock in the UK. Promises to be a good match. Enquist has been playing well all week.